Understanding the Stoic mindset is fundamental to overcoming procrastination, as Stoicism teaches the discipline of controlling what is within our power and letting go of what is near your TMT. The Stoics believed that our thoughts and actions are within our control, and thus we have the power to choose diligence over delay. To adopt a Stoic approach to combat procrastination, one must first recognize the impermanence of time. As Seneca famously wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." With this awareness, it becomes clear that procrastination is not just a thief of time, but also of life's potential. The practice of mindfulness is key in Stoicism. It involves being conscious of the present moment and your current actions or inactions. When you catch yourself procrastinating, pause and reflect on why you are avoiding the task at hand. Is it due to fear of failure, perfectionism, or perhaps lack of clarity? Stoicism teaches us to examine our thoughts critically and challenge irrational beliefs that lead to inaction. Another valuable Stoic principle is premeditatio malorum, which translates to the premeditation of evils. This practice entails envisioning the worst-case scenario if you continue to procrastinate. By contemplating the negative consequences, you create a sense of urgency that can propel you into action. Embracing the Stoic virtue of self-discipline involves setting small, manageable goals instead of daunting ones. Breaking tasks into smaller chunks makes them appear less overwhelming and more achievable. This strategy aligns with the Stoic belief in focusing on what can be done right now rather than getting lost in the vastness of the project. The concept of amor fati, or love of fate, also serves as motivation against procrastination. It implores us to embrace everything that comes our way, including the challenges that tasks present. By learning to love the process and not just the outcome, we find enjoyment in doing the work itself, which naturally diminishes our tendency to delay. Lastly, Stoics advise practicing self-compassion when we do succumb to procrastination. Instead of berating ourselves for wasted time, we should learn from the experience and move forward with renewed determination. Remembering that we are human and imperfect can foster resilience and prevent a single instance of procrastination from spiraling into a persistent habit. Incorporating these Stoic practices into daily life requires mindfulness and discipline, but leads to a life where action triumphs over procrastination. By focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts and actions, we can direct our energy towards productive endeavors and personal growth. Self-awareness is a pivotal aspect of the Stoic philosophy and serves as the bedrock for overcoming procrastination. It involves a deep and honest reflection on one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This level of introspection allows us to understand why we procrastinate and recognize the triggers that lead to such behavior. Are we afraid of the challenge? Do we doubt our abilities? Or are we simply overwhelmed by the size of the task? Stoicism teaches us to observe our internal dialogue without judgment, which in turn facilitates a greater understanding of ourselves. When we become aware of the reasons behind our tendency to postpone tasks, we can address them more effectively. For example, if perfectionism is at the root of our procrastination, we can remind ourselves that making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process, and that it is better to complete a task imperfectly than not at all. Furthermore, self-awareness allows us to align our actions with our core values, another key Stoic practice. By understanding what is truly important to us, we can prioritize our tasks accordingly and find motivation in knowing that our actions are contributing to our overall life goals. Stoicism also emphasizes rationality and logical thinking. Through self-awareness, we can identify when our thoughts are irrational or self-sabotaging and challenge them with reason. We might ask ourselves, what evidence do I have that supports my fear of failure? Often, we will find that our beliefs about the consequences of taking action are exaggerated or unfounded. Additionally, being self-aware helps us recognize the finite nature of time and the importance of using it wisely. By acknowledging that the time spent procrastinating could be used towards personal growth or achieving objectives, it becomes easier to make deliberate choices about how we spend our moments. To foster self-awareness in relation to procrastination, one might engage in regular self-reflection practices, such as journaling or meditation. These activities provide opportunities to check in with oneself and ensure that our daily actions reflect our higher aspirations. By becoming more attuned to our inner landscape, we cultivate the self-mastery required to choose purposeful action over procrastination consistently. In essence, developing self-awareness through Stoic practices empowers us not only to understand the roots of procrastination, but also equips us with the tools to overcome it. This awareness becomes the foundation upon which change is built, allowing us to live more intentionally and with greater control over our choices and actions. Aligning one's actions with their core values is an essential Stoic practice that can significantly reduce the inclination to procrastinate. According to Stoicism, every decision we make should be in service to our personal virtues and the greater good. When tasks are aligned with what we consider to be meaningful and important, motivation tends to follow naturally. To apply this principle, begin by defining your core values. What is most important to you? Is it personal growth, family, health, or maybe career success? Once you have a clear understanding of your values, evaluate how your daily tasks contribute to them. If you find a disconnect between what you are doing and what you value most, it may lead to procrastination because those actions do not resonate with your inner compass. By consciously aligning tasks with our values, we create a sense of purpose that can drive us forward. For instance, if education is a core value and you're postponing studying for an exam, reframing the task as a stepping stone towards becoming a knowledgeable and respected professional in your field can provide the necessary motivation. This perspective makes the task at hand not just another item on a to-do list, but an integral part of your journey towards fulfilling your personal aspirations. Moreover, when facing mundane or unpleasant tasks, consider how they might indirectly support your values. Perhaps organizing your workspace seems tedious, but by recognizing that a tidy environment contributes to mental clarity and productivity, which in turn benefits your work and personal development, values you may hold, the task takes on new meaning. This alignment also means saying no to tasks that don't align with your values. Stoics understood that our resources, time and energy, are limited. By focusing on what truly matters to us, we avoid spreading ourselves too thin on activities that don't serve our ultimate goals. This selective approach not only helps us manage our time more effectively, but also reduces the chances of becoming overwhelmed, which is often a precursor to procrastination. It's also important to regularly review and adjust your commitments as needed. Our lives are dynamic, and our values may shift over time. Ensure that what you're working on remains relevant and important to you. If you notice that your motivation is waning due to misalignment with your values, take this as an opportunity to reassess and realign. At times when alignment seems particularly difficult, draw upon the Stoic exercise of reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Even when tasks do not directly touch upon our core values, we can choose to see them as chances to practice virtues like patience, diligence, or resilience, qualities that are universally aligned with Stoic philosophy. In summary, by aligning actions with values, we harness the power of intrinsic motivation, which acts as an antidote to procrastination. Tasks cease being burdens and instead become meaningful steps on the path toward living according to one's principles. It is this harmonious connection between daily activities and personal values that can inspire action and facilitate a life led by purpose rather than avoidance. The Stoic art of goal setting involves a practical and philosophical approach to defining and pursuing objectives. It is grounded in the Stoic belief that we should focus on what is within our control while accepting what is not. When it comes to goal setting, this means distinguishing between our efforts and the outcomes, which are often subject to external factors. To set goals the Stoic way, start by identifying objectives that are dependent on your own actions rather than external circumstances. For example, rather than setting a goal to win a competition, an outcome that relies on many variables beyond your control, aim to consistently train and improve your skills, an effort that is entirely up to you. Once you have identified effort-based goals, break them down into smaller, actionable steps. This aligns with the Stoic practice of dividing tasks into manageable parts to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Each step should be clear and concrete, enabling you to take daily or weekly actions towards your larger goal. For instance, if your goal is to write a book, your small steps might include dedicating an hour each day to writing or completing a chapter each week. In setting these goals, be realistic and consider potential obstacles. The Stoics advocated for envisioning difficulties as part of the planning process. By anticipating challenges, you can prepare mentally and practically to face them without being derailed. This foresight can also help in maintaining resilience when faced with setbacks. Furthermore, embrace flexibility in your goal-setting process. While Stoics are known for their discipline, they also recognize the importance of adapting to change. If circumstances arise that affect your initial plans, be prepared to reassess and adjust your goals accordingly. The key is not to become too attached to one path or outcome, but to continue making progress in alignment with your core principles. A vital aspect of Stoic goal setting is reflecting on progress regularly. This reflection isn't just about tracking advancements, but also involves contemplating the virtues you are practicing in pursuit of your goals. Are you demonstrating persistence, courage, or wisdom? How can you cultivate these virtues further? Reflecting on these questions helps reinforce the Stoic idea that the true value lies in the pursuit itself and in the personal growth that comes from it. Lastly, it's important not to rush or force results. Stoicism teaches patience and an appreciation for gradual progress. Set goals with timeframes that allow for thoughtful effort rather than hurried completion. Remember, what matters most is not just reaching the destination, but growing stronger and wiser through the journey towards it. In essence, the Stoic art of goal setting is about identifying what truly matters, pursuing it with thoughtful action, preparing for challenges, being adaptable, regularly reflecting on personal growth, and valuing the process over mere results. By adopting this approach, not only do we increase our chances of achieving our goals, but we also cultivate virtue and live more fulfilling lives in accordance with Stoic wisdom. Embracing discomfort is a fundamental concept in Stoicism and is considered an essential path to personal growth. The Stoics understood that comfort often leads to complacency, while discomfort can be a powerful motivator for improvement. To truly overcome procrastination, one must become accustomed to stepping outside their comfort zone. The practice of voluntary discomfort, what the Stoics called ascesis, involves intentionally putting oneself in challenging situations. This could mean waking up earlier than usual, enduring physical exercise, or tackling the most difficult task on your to-do list first. The idea is not to suffer needlessly, but to strengthen one's resilience and willpower. By regularly exposing yourself to controlled discomfort, you train yourself to be less deterred by the inherent challenges of tasks you might otherwise procrastinate on. Moreover, embracing discomfort allows us to break the habit of seeking immediate gratification, which is often at the root of procrastination. Instead of giving in to the desire for short-term pleasures, like scrolling through social media or watching television, we learn to delay gratification and focus on long-term benefits. This shift in perspective is key in overcoming the inertia that leads to procrastination. In practical terms, embracing discomfort might mean setting a timer and beginning work on a task for just 5 minutes. Often the initial resistance to starting is the main hurdle. Once we begin, it becomes easier to continue. This technique relies on the fact that our capacity for tolerating discomfort can grow over time. The more frequently we engage with it, the less intimidating it becomes. Stoicism also encourages us to reflect on how temporary discomfort can lead to lasting improvement. For example, studying diligently for an exam may be stressful and exhausting in the short term, but the knowledge gained and the satisfaction of doing well can benefit us for years to come. By keeping this longer view in mind, we can find the motivation to push through moments of discomfort. Furthermore, by accepting and even welcoming discomfort when it arises naturally, rather than strictly seeking it out, we can cultivate equanimity, a state of steady composure and calmness in all situations, that further fortifies us against procrastination. Whether confronted with a difficult conversation or a challenging project deadline, maintaining equanimity helps us respond with intention rather than avoidance. To effectively embrace discomfort as a path to growth, it is crucial to monitor one's self-talk during challenging times. Negative or self-defeating thoughts will inevitably arise. However, by using Stoic techniques such as cognitive distancing, observing your thoughts as if they were someone else's, you can maintain objectivity and avoid becoming overwhelmed by negative emotions. In conclusion, the Stoic practice of embracing discomfort challenges us to see difficult tasks not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. By voluntarily engaging with challenging situations and reflecting on their transformative potential, we can cultivate discipline, resilience, and ultimately overcome the tendency toward procrastination. Through this practice, we not only accomplish more, but also enhance our character in line with Stoic virtues. Managing time effectively is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes living a life of purpose and rationality. The Stoics were proponents of using time wisely, conscious that it's the one resource we cannot renew. A Stoic approach to time management begins with the recognition that how we choose to spend our time reflects our values and priorities in life. To practice time management from a Stoic standpoint, one must first cultivate an acute awareness of the present moment. This means recognizing that the current task at hand is the most important thing you can be doing, as the past is unchangeable and the future is uncertain. When you fully immerse yourself in the present activity, you are able to give it your full attention and effort, which is essential for efficiency and effectiveness. The Stoics also advised against multitasking, understanding that dividing our attention leads to diminished quality in our work and interactions. They championed the idea of doing one thing at a time, focusing all energy on that singular task before moving on to the next. This approach ensures that tasks are completed with care and to the best of one's ability. Another Stoic practice relevant to time management is the concept of negative visualization. By considering the loss of something we take for granted, in this case time, we begin to appreciate it more deeply. Imagine your day as if it were your last. How would you choose to spend your hours? This thought exercise can help clarify priorities and redirect efforts toward what truly matters. Furthermore, Stoicism instructs us to differentiate between what is within our control and what isn't. This applies to how we schedule and use our time. Create a daily plan or to-do list that focuses on tasks within your control, avoiding wasted effort on worrying about uncontrollable outcomes. By concentrating on our own actions, we can remain productive and undistracted by external events. This focus on control extends to setting boundaries for oneself and with others. The Stoics believed in protecting their time for important personal pursuits, such as self-reflection and study. Establishing clear boundaries around work hours, communication, and leisure activities helps preserve time for these essential practices. Regular reflection is another key component of a Stoic approach to time management. At the end of each day, review what was accomplished and consider whether your use of time aligned with your values and goals. This nightly reflection not only provides insight into how well you managed your time, but also offers an opportunity to prepare for the following day. Lastly, adopt a mindset willing to accept less than perfection when managing time. The Stoics knew that not all plans would unfold as expected. They taught acceptance when things go awry and advocated for adapting plans flexibly while maintaining composure. Rather than striving for a flawless schedule, aim for progress and growth through continuous learning from each day's experiences. By applying these Stoic principles to time management, being present in the moment, focusing on one task at a time, visualizing negativity to value your hours more, differentiating between controllable and uncontrollable aspects, setting boundaries, reflecting regularly, and accepting imperfection, you can develop a disciplined yet adaptable approach that enhances productivity while fostering inner tranquility. Taming distractions is a critical aspect of self-improvement, especially in our modern world, brimming with constant notifications and interruptions. Stoicism provides a practical framework for dealing with these distractions through the practice of Stoic indifference, or what is known as apatheia. This concept involves developing an attitude of equanimity towards things that do not concern our moral purpose or are not within our control. To apply Stoic indifference to distractions, one must first identify what truly deserves attention. According to Stoicism, only our own thoughts and actions are worthy of deep focus because these are within our sphere of influence. External distractions, on the other hand, should be met with a calm detachment. When you encounter a distraction, pause and ask yourself whether it aligns with your goals and virtues. If it doesn't, then it should be treated with indifference. This does not mean that one should be careless or negligent towards external events or responsibilities. Instead, it suggests prioritizing tasks based on their significance to your personal and ethical development. For example, incessant emails may demand attention, but if responding to them immediately disrupts more critical work or reflection time, they can wait. By practicing this discernment, you ensure that your energy is invested in activities that are truly beneficial. Cultivating the ability to remain indifferent to distractions also involves training the mind to resist the lure of immediate gratification. The Stoics practiced exercises like voluntary discomfort to strengthen their resolve against the pull of pleasurable but unnecessary diversions. You can adopt similar practices by setting specific times for checking social media or email rather than succumbing to the impulse to check them constantly. Another Stoic strategy is to preemptively plan for potential distractions and devise tactics to mitigate them. This could mean turning off smartphone notifications during work hours or establishing a dedicated quiet space for study or meditation. It also helps to communicate your boundaries clearly to others so that they understand when you should not be disturbed. Moreover, when distractions do occur, as they inevitably will, it is important to respond with composure rather than frustration. Stoic indifference teaches us not to be perturbed by these interruptions, but rather to accept them as part of life's flow. Each time we return our focus to what matters after being distracted, we reinforce our ability to concentrate and strengthen our mental discipline. In essence, taming distractions through Stoic indifference is about maintaining a disciplined focus on actions that are congruent with our values and goals, while adopting an unruffled attitude towards everything else. By doing so, we guard our time and mental space from being eroded by trivialities, which in turn allows us to lead more intentional and productive lives. Cultivating consistency in one's actions and habits is a hallmark of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that excellence or arete was not an act but a habit, something that is achieved through repeated practice and discipline. For those striving to overcome procrastination, this means establishing a routine that fosters steady progress toward goals. A Stoic way to cultivate consistency involves setting clear intentions for each day. This doesn't necessarily mean packing the schedule with activities. Rather, it's about defining what you wish to achieve with the time available, aligning those intentions with your values and virtues. It could be as simple as dedicating a specific hour to study, exercise, or practice a skill. The key is that these intentions are purposeful and contribute to your personal growth. The Stoics also embraced the practice of daily self-reflection. Each evening, review your actions of the day, assess what you've done well and what could be improved upon. This exercise not only holds you accountable, but also helps to reinforce positive habits and identify areas where consistency needs strengthening. To further solidify consistency in their routines, Stoics recommended the use of reminders and symbols. For instance, carrying a small token or setting up visual cues in your environment can serve as prompts to keep you focused on your chosen path. These reminders can help cement the behaviors and attitudes necessary for overcoming procrastination. Another important aspect is to prepare mentally for the inevitability of obstacles and setbacks. Rather than being discouraged by them, Stoics viewed these challenges as tests of their resolve and opportunities for growth. By anticipating difficulties and reaffirming commitment to your practices during these times, you can maintain consistency despite the ups and downs. Moreover, by practicing contentment with the present moment, a core Stoic principle, you can avoid the restlessness that often leads to inconsistency. It's easy to think that we'll be more consistent once we achieve a certain goal or when conditions are perfect. However, Stoicism teaches that we can only control our actions now. Therefore, embracing the present allows us to remain steadfast in our efforts, no matter the circumstances. Finally, it is important for one seeking consistency to start small and build gradually. The Stoics understood that grand plans can be overwhelming and lead to inaction. Instead, focus on making small changes consistently over time. Consistency in small things leads to significant results, a concept that is particularly powerful when aiming to defeat procrastination. By integrating these practices into daily life, setting clear intentions, engaging in self-reflection, using reminders, preparing for challenges, practicing contentment with the present, and starting small, one can cultivate the kind of consistency that aligns with Stoic values and leads to a life less hindered by procrastination and more directed by intention and virtue. Accountability and reflection are integral Stoic tools that serve as powerful mechanisms for personal progress and overcoming procrastination. The Stoics held that one must be accountable for their actions, as this self-responsibility is essential for personal development. To practice accountability from a Stoic perspective, one should regularly assess their own behaviors and decisions against their set of values and objectives. This means not only taking credit for successes, but also acknowledging and taking ownership of failures and lapses in judgment or discipline. Incorporating daily or weekly reflection sessions can significantly enhance one's sense of accountability. During these sessions, ask yourself questions like, did I act according to my principles today? Did I give in to procrastination or unnecessary distractions? What could I have done differently? By being honest with yourself during these reflections, you can identify patterns of behavior that need adjustment and reinforce those that align with Stoic virtues. Reflection also provides an opportunity to consider the consequences of your actions, both immediate and long-term. For instance, when procrastination prevents you from completing a task, ponder the ripple effects this has on your goals, your stress levels, and perhaps even on others who might be relying on you. This broader view of accountability goes beyond personal productivity. It encompasses the impact of your actions on the wider world. Another Stoic practice is to journal about your experiences and insights. Writing down your thoughts can lend clarity and serve as a record of your commitments to yourself. It solidifies your intentions and provides a tangible reference to revisit when you're facing challenges or when motivation wanes. You can also use the journal to track progress over time, which can be a motivating factor in itself. To further strengthen accountability, some Stoics would engage in what's known as the view from above, a mental exercise where they'd imagine looking down upon their actions from a higher perspective. This technique helps detach from the immediacy of desires and impulses that might lead to procrastination and instead fosters a more objective assessment of one's conduct. Engaging with a community or finding a mentor who shares your commitment to Stoic principles can also foster accountability. Sharing your goals and struggles with someone else creates a sense of responsibility towards them as well as towards yourself. They can provide external perspective, encouragement, and sometimes the necessary push to keep you on track. In essence, by implementing practices such as regular reflection, journaling, mental exercises like the view from above, and seeking community or mentorship, One embraces the Stoic tools of accountability and reflection. These practices not only deter procrastination by constantly reminding us of our commitments, but also guide us toward making consistent progress in our pursuit of virtue and excellence. Putting philosophy into action is the crux of Stoicism. It's not just a theoretical framework for understanding life, but a practical guide for living it. To truly benefit from Stoic philosophy, one must actively apply its teachings to daily life, especially when combating the habit of procrastination. In practical terms, this means taking the insights acquired from Stoic thought and using them to inform your choices and behaviors. Every moment of decision is an opportunity to practice Stoicism. Will you choose to give in to the comfort of procrastination, or will you exercise discipline and take action? For instance, when faced with a daunting task, remember the Stoic emphasis on working within the here and now. Focus on what can be accomplished in the present moment, rather than getting overwhelmed by the entirety of the task. Apply the principle of breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces and tackle them one at a time. This approach not only makes the work less intimidating, but also provides a series of small victories that can build momentum and confidence. Utilize Stoic mindfulness to remain aware of your thoughts and feelings throughout the day. When you notice your mind drifting towards procrastination, gently guide it back to the task at hand. Remind yourself of the impermanence of time and how each moment wasted is a moment lost forever. By consistently realigning your focus with your actions, you reinforce the habit of doing over delaying. Apply Stoic exercises, such as premeditation of adversities, to mentally prepare for the challenges that might arise during your work. By visualizing these obstacles beforehand, you arm yourself with strategies to overcome them and prevent them from stalling your progress. Incorporate daily reflections into your routine, as the Stoics did, to evaluate your actions and their alignment with your values. Such introspection can help identify why you might be prone to procrastination and how best to rectify it. It is through this honest self-assessment that you can continuously improve and develop stronger willpower against the lure of procrastination. Lastly, embrace Stoic resilience by accepting that setbacks are natural. When you fall into patterns of procrastination, despite your best efforts, don't despair or punish yourself excessively. Instead, use it as a learning experience. Reflect on what went wrong, adjust your strategy, and persevere with renewed vigor. By actively putting these philosophies into action every day, you embody the Stoic way of life. Procrastination then becomes not just an obstacle, but an opportunity for practicing virtue and fortifying your character. In this way, Stoicism offers not just a way out of procrastination, but a pathway to personal excellence and fulfillment. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you would like to learn more about Stoicism.